Please help me welcome Mariano Cunietti from Enter.it.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mariano Cunietti. I'm from Italy, from Enter. Today, I want to tell you a story based on the environment that Cole outlined in his keynote. We have three actors in the Open Compute project, and we are definitely the consumer or the user. So I will tell you a user story. A user story that is the result and is a journey from the beginning to the Open Compute project. Let's start far behind. Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a small company with a large support by a lot of passionate users that every day provide contents and information to the biggest encyclopedia in the world. There's one of three key points that made this success. One is the free access to all the resources. Everybody can access Wikipedia, everybody can learn, everybody can change the contents. The second one is componentization. This is a difficult word. I would have used standardization, but components leads us more close to the end of this journey. I mean, when you standardize, you build building blocks that help customers build their own set of infrastructure, whether it is informational or hardware or software. And then there is the third point, which is the collaboration. Collaboration is the ability to share information, share visions, share ideas, and put them in place and act based on this sharing. So if you put these three items together, the access, you define components, so the small building blocks, and then help the user and let them collaborate, you get the highest disruption rate ever. Disruptive is one of the most frequent words I've heard today. And I think it's very important to underline that we are in a moment where cloud is one aspect of something that's happening on the society and on the economics that requires us to rethink a lot of habits. But Wikipedia is just an example. It's just an example of something where software changed something in the digital world. Now software is eating the world. Software is not more confined in a walled garden where works only on how can I say, digital stuff. Software is changing things, physical things. Airbnb. Everybody knows Airbnb. Everybody uses maybe Airbnb. I come from the city that will host the expo for next year. I have a lot of, I met a lot of people that are refurbishing or renovating their house because they are putting their house on Airbnb just to gain money and provide accommodation to the tourists that will come to our city. Kickstarted a new economic system to launch projects. And Italian proud, Arduino. Arduino is a small board that was invented by an Italian high school teacher to provide his students with a very cheap and affordable board to develop their own PCL. So these are just examples. So let's come to us. Let's come to Enter story. We come from the network. We still are an ISP. ISP means Internet Service Provider. So networking is in our DNA. And since 1996, we have delivered to our customers solutions based on any kind of geographical VPN and configuration. Obviously, to sustain this growth, you need to have data centers. So during these years, we have designed and deployed our own data centers. That made up made us very aware on the issues you have in a data center. We start up with our traditional enterprise environment with VMware, SANS, EMC, stuff like that. Our network grew so much that we started to collect accesses from customers living out of Italy. So headquartered in Italy and branch offices outside Italy, initially in Europe and then all over the world. We had to guarantee that the supply chain was under our total control, or at least the maximum control. So we started to collect the traffic on a layer 2 basis in the 5 main POPs in Europe, which are Amsterdam at the M6, London at the Links, France at France 6, Germany at the D6, and Milan at the Mix. So we end up building our ring where we connected all our point of presence in Europe with a 10 gigabit ring, Metro Ethernet. So we deliver L2 in all our POPs. We collect the traffic and bring it to Milan and give it to our customer, which have their branch offices in Milan. Networking brought us to talk about cloud. We had the data center, we had the network. We needed to understand how to put the stuff together and let the users freely access these resources. There was no way we could have we could go on selling this kind of infrastructure in an intermediate way. So we wanted to disintermediate our infrastructure. We just want to self-provision to users. How? Not with VMware. Actually, we wanted to, but we discovered that there were 2 main reasons by which this could not be done. The first one was commercial. VMware was changing their licensing program. They were moving from a licensing on a CPU basis, on a socket basis, to a allocated virtual RAM basis. So that would change very much the scale of margins and revenues. And the other reason was a product reason. That product, at that time, it was 2010, vCloud was not capable of being modified or customized. I say at that time because I don't know if now it is possible to do that. I stopped my investigation. So I end up totally lost on the stairs going out from the VMware headquarters with my CEO telling me, you must find an alternative. Why? What? And then came up OpenStack. We met OpenStack project. It was very young. We started working with OpenStack on the Cactus release. And it was immature, buggy, sometimes still is. And, but it was modular. There was a vision inside that. And so that's why we decided to develop on OpenStack. I can tell you the last 3.5 years have been very exciting. We had worked a lot on this. But we could deliver what we wanted to our customer. We gave them access to resources. We defined some components, and the components in OpenStack are the APIs, are the standard that you provide to your users. Users know exactly what to expect when they come to an OpenStack environment. And let them collaborate. Obviously, not our users, but the community in OpenStack is collaborating. A lot of very smart people and fun people. So we came up building Enter Cloud Suite. We chose the name because we wanted to have an acronym similar to AWS, GCE, and so we had ECS. But also because it's not a virtualization environment only. It's a real cloud service, European, is the first European OpenStack IaaS, public IaaS. So far, I think it's almost one of the few. And it's the only one which is multi-region. So we deployed our OpenStack silos in Milan, Frankfurt, and Amsterdam. We had plans to deploy also London and Paris. As you saw from the map, we have already the POPs, but we stopped for a while because then OCP, the Open Compute Project, came in and we decided to re-engineer our silos. So, what is Enter Cloud Suite? Enter Cloud Suite is computing. We run KVM, which is an amazing hypervisor. In the last year, thanks to the OpenStack community, KVM has jumped from being one of the last to one of the first in terms of efficiency and performance. We run storage services. We decided to choose the best of breed in the OpenStack community. I spent several months before deciding whether to go with Ceph and doing block storage and object storage with Ceph, or going with Swift and doing only the object storage with Swift. And I decided to keep both, because both of them are good, and I used Ceph for block storage, which has a tremendous performance, and we use Swift, which is the only part in the first part in the OpenStack project that is ready for prime time. Take a look to the swiftstack.com website and take a look to the companies that are using Swift in production. We decided to play a pure OpenStack flavor. We decided not to run any private or commercial plugin. We run everything in open source, L3 agent, Open vSwitch. It took some time to tweak it, but it's going blazing faster, and now it's very stable. We use VXLAN in production because anybody building an OpenStack environment knows that if you use VLANs, sooner or later you will end up your VLANs. So we moved to VXLAN, which was at the time when we took the decision, it was an alpha RFC. But cloud is not only about OpenStack. Cloud is about a set of integrated services to use your building blocks. So we looked at Amazon, they're doing a good job, and we tried to understand what was the real glue to keep everything together. What is the most affordable and cheap and easy to use and pluggable geographical balancing system? DNS. So we developed our own DNS engine. We developed our own DNS APIs on top of the DNS, and we attached our DNS service to an Anycast network. So we could merge the best of Amazon Route 53, which is a set of APIs, health checks, and a web interface to handle everything, smart records for load balancing, high availability, and geo DNS, with the network engineering of DNS, which is the only one running on an Anycast and using BGP to route correctly users based on a real network position. And then CDN. We have partnered with a global partner to provide the CDN services that are simply plugged in our authentication model, and the user just need to provide a URL and the source URL to retrieve the content either from the object storage or from their instances. So, Enter Cloud Suite is technology. There's a lot of technology. I wanted to have a slide with all the logos of the technology, but I ran out of time. But there's a lot of technology underlying. But cloud computing is not only about technology. It's about society. It's about how we live together. Think of Facebook. It's about how we work together. Think of co-working spaces. And it's about economics. I put the example of Wikipedia, and someone may argue, that's not a profitable company. It's a no-profit company. Yes, but it's a sustainable company. What cloud should deliver, the cloud approach should enable, is a sustainability of an environment. So we are moving from a society of the ownership, in our case, ownership of the infrastructure, to an environment where access to infrastructure must be granted. So when you have network, you have cloud, and you put together the sharing economy, some interesting experiments pop up. So we decide to move in a non-technological field, because when you are living in Italy, where there is a technological gap, which is not only technological, it's a cultural gap between the rest of the world, especially with the US, you need to understand how things happen, how to let things happen. So we did an experiment. We set up our co-working space, tables with wheels, power from, you can see those cables hanging from the roof, nothing on the floor, and everything is assemblable. You can move it just like servers. When we have to teach our customers how the cloud works, we bring them in and say, okay, look at this, and they immediately understand what cloud is, even the non-technology one. We start up our makerspace because we think that these guys just have the knowledge and just needed to buy the tools that are needed to build your own everything. The Internet of Things is something that starts when you build the things. Okay? This is the place when you build things, and OCP is something related to building things. And then, produzione dal basso means production from below. It's a crowdfunding platform. It's nothing else than an experiment for a social networking with money on top. That's it. So the next step, our journey arrives to the open compute. We are learning from the community. Community is an incredible source of inspiration. The collaborative commons are taken, it's a sentence taken from Jeremy Rifkin's zero marginal cost theory. We are learning from makers, do it yourself, hack it. Hacking attitude is something we tell our customers. We are able to hack things, break them, look into it and see if we can improve them, re-engineer, copy. What's OpenStack about? It's about looking into a Cisco networking gear and copy it in software. What's virtualization about? What's the software-defined storage about? It's taking what was hidden into a vendor hardware and explain in a list of code. And since we are not a non-profit company, we need also to be able to shrink our costs. We must be able also to be sustainable. So, what are the costs connected to running a public cloud? Power consumption, and when it comes to shipment, it comes to the cost of transport and the time in logistics. We have a company, another smaller company in the province near the mountains, where it was very difficult to have XDSL connectivity, no cables. It was impossible to have cables in cities. So they started hacking some Lithuanian radio and antennas, and now they have set up in the last 2 years 8,000 radio links actively working and delivering up to 700 megabits per link. So we talked with the Lithuanian guy, which is one single guy that engineered these antennas and this radio that are able to provide a very stable link at high speeds. And he told us that the problem with China now is that nobody is making stock anymore. So when you order from China, you have to wait them to produce what you are asking for. And then you have to pay for delivery. And when it comes to racks, you have to pay based upon the weight of what you are sending and shipping from them. So this is what we expect from the Open Compute project applied to our cloud environment. Reduce the power absorption, power consumption, and the server footprint by 38%. And to reduce the capex and the direct capex and indirect capex about waiting time by 24%. By providing ourselves the, how can I say, the useless components in a server. I mean, when I order a server, I need the electronic components. I do not need the chassis, okay? I can do it myself. If I have the design, I have the makers with the laser cut, I can do it. So something is changing, but something has already changed, and someone is not really does not really know that something has changed. So the question is Europe ready for all of these challenges? I don't know. We are. We are, and as you can see from this picture, we are very passionate. And when it comes to working with communities, if you are not passionate about what you are doing, you will end up with a community made up of you and yourself. I want to close my presentation with a Steve Jobs-like slide. And one more thing. If I draw some lines on what is happening on the cloud software and approach, which is OpenStack, and then I go on and I say Docker, and I go on again and I say CoreOS, and I say all the management tools that are providing standardization on the management of application on top of the cloud. I mean, I am defining a new standard for componentization of the cloud on an upper level. And then if I go on with what's happening on the server side, and I say, okay, I want to reduce the power supply waste, I want to reduce the UPS waste, I want to reduce the cooling waste into a data center, I end up with something that may look like this. What happens if you sink your servers into oil? This is it. You can see there, Horizon Solution, it's a new name of split desktop. They are working on this kind of rack, where you can run consumer electronics, where you can run standard containers, where you can run any application once you install Docker or CoreOS, and you can have a large scale of these boxes with no cooling, with just some walls or fresh air, if you have windows to keep them open, and nothing else. So this may be the thing we will talk about next year. Thank you very much.